Going for a little more of the Armageddon, Top Gun kind of vibe today. No one's a fan of it. I like it. I think it's cool. All right, good morning, everyone. All right, let's start with, I'm going to do this every day, just to get you guys excited. All right, 59 days and counting until we get to the autumnal equinox. First day of fall, it'll be the 22nd of September. It'll be here before you know it. Hello, everyone. I'm Wave Meteorologist Brian Goode. Welcome to the blog here today. No, it's not Storm Talk, not today. I got a feeling we will have storms for some of you this weekend, and we'll be done with rain at some point, of course, next week. But the heat still is the bigger headline as we head through the next several days. Early next week looks to be the core of it. I mean, we're going to be in a general 90 to 95 degree range in the average here over the next few days, even over the weekend. The weekend issue will be all about interruption at times from storms, so we'll be talking about that. But next week, the core of the heat really grabs us before we get a break. I just don't know how long this break is going to be, but the break is still there. So there is some good news to share with you all on this Friday. Good morning, everyone. I put all the comments up from the YouTubers because you guys are on your own little world this morning. Yes, someone did Big Carry on signing on. It was Ryan today. Ryan Adams was first to get on the blog here today. What'd you say, Jacob? I feel like we just saved the world with this music. We need some hope. We need some hope, right? Good morning, Angela on Facebook. Good to always see you. Hope you're doing well and the family's good. Good morning to Anthony as well. Join us on Facebook. So you guys, again, comment on the social media side. If you're watching on the app or streaming, you're thinking, what in the world is he talking about? Because you can't see those. I totally understand that, but that's where we're at. All right, so let's get to it. We got some things here to cover. Nothing too dramatic, so that's good. We got that kind of a hazy look again. A little bit of haze and some of that valley fog too, and river fog from this morning as we're looking at Spaghetti Junction here in downtown. Storm chance today is going to be very similar to yesterday. 1 or 2, maybe. So it's not a very high chance. You really could just make a carbon copy of yesterday and paste it to today, and that's basically how it's going to be. And like we saw yesterday afternoon, we get a little bit of mixing in the air. The wind will kick up. So at least the wind does help, and that prevents air quality issues too when you mix up the air like that and flip it around. When you're able to do that in the atmosphere, you don't get the pollutants that build up as much, so that's good. But it does help too in getting that just breeze. Even if it just is moving your sweat around on your body, that's fine. It's something, and it does help, especially as you get into the late afternoon window. All right, let's get into some of the numbers we've got, and we'll kind of stretch our legs here and see how things are going to play out as we evolve into the weekend. We're 82 now. We did drop to 70, I believe it's 77 or 78. I asked Carson, and I totally already forgot. Roughly in that range this morning. The reason why I mentioned there's a chance to get some record warm lows involved. We're thinking right now that's going to be next week that would happen. But it will be a factor at times. But already after a very warm start is the point of this. We'll get to about 90 or even a touch higher by the time we get to the noon show today. All right, we do have a couple of downpours to talk about. Some cumulus clouds, a little bit of a moisture belt there across central Indiana, trying to drag into our northern counties. Otherwise, there is no trigger here, guys. No trigger at all other than the heat island again. So just like we saw yesterday, it's going to be the eastern side, northeastern side really, of the metro. Clark County, I will include you in that. Oldham, parts of Shelby as well. Maybe even Henry could get a downpour this afternoon, downwind from the heat island effect. But again, if you're more south and west, a little tougher for that to happen. There's another exception area too, and that is just because you get some minor lift here from the terrain in southern Kentucky and Lake Cumberland area. So sometimes you can get a couple of little downpours that may pop there in southeast Kentucky. Usually that's out of our area altogether, but if you're in Columbia and into Marion County, sometimes they can sneak over. But again, we do have a couple of downpours into Indiana, very, very small. Barely can see them right over, looks like Martin County. A couple trying to pop, heading toward maybe the IU campus there in Bloomington, near Adam. But overall, most of the area is quiet here on this Friday, which is good. All the moisture field is being pulled all the way into the front. Boy, it's really high there PWatts, the moisture content in the atmosphere running at about 2.1, 2.2 at times in that area of Illinois and Missouri. Flash flooding risk is really high in that zone. We've got our moisture issues here, don't get me wrong, but we don't have as high a content as they do ahead of the front. Once the front gets closer to us, we will be monitoring that for any flash flooding. We're thinking that we'll have some thunderstorms that'll be on the move, so I don't think we're going to deal with slow-moving thunderstorms. I think our issue is training of thunderstorms. That's something we'll watch in the days ahead, but nothing right now in the forecast for that. One day at a time is how we're going to do this. So the heat alerts today, we don't have as many extreme heat warnings that are out, but there are several heat advisories, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, what happened in Arkansas? Do you know why that section of Arkansas is not under a heat advisory? Some of you may know. If you know, go ahead and type it into the chat. St. Louis is under an extreme heat warning for the metropolitan. I think it may be close to a record period for them too, for being under that level of intensity. You don't get into extreme heat warnings often, and they did change the name of it to, is it this year or last year? Maybe last year. All the years run together. From excessive heat warning to extreme heat warning. So we may slip at times and say excessive. I apologize. It's just entrained in our brains to say that. So it'll take me a couple of years. Probably used to saying extreme, but either way, we put in the banner just heat warning to try to make it simple for you all. It's possible we could get close to that level for early next week. Tuesday stands out, so does Wednesday, to be honest, but Tuesday still is sticking out. No one knows yet why northern Arkansas is not under a heat advisory. There is a name for that area of northern Arkansas and southern Missouri. It's also a popular show on Netflix as well. Somebody's going to guess it here in a second. I'll move on and I'll look for it, I promise. Our alerts, heat advisory. Now, technically, it's going to expire as we head into the 8 o'clock hour tonight. No plans right now to extend for the moment. All right, there you go. Ann's got it. It is the Ozarks. It is a elevated terrain in that area, so it's mountains basically. They're higher up, so they don't have to worry about the building heat there. They usually get winter weather advisories too, just for that area of Arkansas because of elevation. So, way to go. Good job, guys. Okay, so the heat advisory again out until 8 o'clock. Poor Adair County, you're not in it technically. So, everyone go to Columbia. Head south to Adair County if you want to escape the heat, apparently. It's just moisture levels are not as wild here on the heat side, but still, it's hot. I mean, it's no way to sugarcoat that. But again, no plans or an service to extend that into the weekend, just because we don't know yet how much of an interruption, especially in our northern section here, we're going to see. So there's a chance that those of you along and south parkways may still get another heat advisory for the weekend. I wouldn't rule that out, but along 64 North, confidence is not as high. No doubt these will come back next week. All right, they will come back. But the weekend is a big question mark, as you're about to see. So I'm going to take you through this hour by hour. A lot of you have plans this weekend, a lot of outdoor events. We have the Dainty Festival taking place this weekend. Hey, that's exciting. The contest is on Monday, but the festival is this weekend. That's always popular here in Louisville. But a lot of folks getting ready for, some of you have birthday parties, family reunions, vacations. I totally understand. So I'll try to stop this at certain points. And this is just one model's idea, but I'll kind of explain our thoughts here. Today, you see how the fuel, but the fuel doesn't matter if there's nothing to trigger it. You have to have some type of mechanism to ignite the thunderstorms to be able to take advantage of that fuel, and that is not the case. The only issue, the only thing that can be a trigger is the rising motion being a little more rapid into the heat island area, so it's possible. So again, I pointed out those areas around the heat island, which some of the modeling, including this one, still wants to hint at that it's possible. Otherwise, that boundary you saw there in Indiana, yeah, that's the focal point. So if you're in Lawrence, Jackson, Jennings, maybe even Washington County, Indiana, you may be close enough, or I should say Orange, maybe close enough to get a couple of downpours out of that today. But most of you will stay dry and hot. Once again, heat index was 105 here in Louisville yesterday, and I think it was like 105. Some of you got to 111 for heat index, and these were actual sites that are working. So they were able to measure that, but they're also picking up the amount of moisture in the air, which it's really sensitive to where the sensor is at, right? So if it's in the middle of a cornfield or in just a very green area, you're likely to get a high heat index on our maps. So if you see those wild numbers, that's usually why the sensor is where it is. And typically it's a little lower at the airport here in Louisville just because we don't have as much trees and action going on, but the actual temperature can be a little higher. Anyway, I get distracted easily. All right, for this evening, any thunderstorm chance will be fading away throughout the mid-evening window as we lose the fuel and we get ready for a very warm night tonight. Tomorrow, same storyline, scattered showers and a few thunderstorms popping. The front inches just a little bit closer to us, all right, sagging down a little closer here, but still mainly north. So your rain chance is going to be higher north. If any thunderstorm forms tomorrow, there's a chance one or two could drift down a little more south, but coverage overall I think is still going to be scattered. So we'll go still with the 90s for highs, and again, a higher along the parkways area for the heat index especially. You'll have more dry time. But even if we get storms to the north, we could get some clouds that could blow off. So we may get a little bit of shade from that. But I do see a lot of cumulus clouds tomorrow for your Saturday. Okay, that moves on out of here. Those fade away. Sunday's where we run into some issues. And boy, looking at all the high-res data, I'm not able to show you every model. But in general, the idea is the same here, that the front tilts. The boundary goes to that little seesaw effect that we talked about. That's still there. So we know that thunderstorms are likely going to fire at some point Sunday from Indianapolis and around Cincinnati. Now, remember Pac-Man, they love to eat high humidity levels. They will aim that way, and that certainly, as you look at the Cape, is higher here than it is in, say, West Virginia. So they're going to want to build backwards a bit, a little more southwest. But would that be an organized MCS, which is possible, or would that just be a band of thunderstorms and an outflow that builds in? Good question. Don't know that yet. But we know that the risk is certainly there. So your rain chance remains higher for those of you in Indiana and up 71 for that ability. And even Louisville may have to throw into that mix. Here is, this is the graph model, our inside model here, our in-station model. You can see how it builds down. Here we are at 6 o'clock. All right, there are the thunderstorms. There is an outflow that even shows up the model, which is pretty wild to see that, but it's right there. I watch that line. Keeps building south, so now it's right over Louisville at about 9 p.m. on Sunday, and with some showers and storms. But now it's running into a capped environment. The more southwest it runs into because it's getting to nighttime, so it has no choice but to run out of gas and just fall apart. It's just a hostile environment for thunderstorms to even form, so it's done after that. All right, so the question will be on Sunday. Our biggest thorn in our side is, how will that progress? Until it arrives, though, we have a good chance to get back in the mid-90s. So we're going to be prime for a hot setup with this outflow moving in, and I do fear that there could be some strong wind gusts. The severe weather outlook is not in our area. I'll show you CSU in a second, but the severe risk, mainly they're just throwing out marginals is what they're doing for a lot of the areas along the front until the day of. Then they start putting out slights. That's fair. You basically have to do that until you have more confidence in where it's going to form. But I think it wouldn't surprise me we would get some kind of a marginal risk that kind of drops down like this for Sunday to cover the thunderstorm chance. There may be a narrow area of a slight risk that could come out where they initially develop. We'll monitor it. I don't want to play it up too much, but I just want to at least explain for those of you who have plans this weekend. Saturday, there's not a huge trigger in the region, but Sunday there is. So stay tuned. Okay, so what happens after that? Well, then the heat builds in. Here's the Euro, by the way. You can see the heat shield that builds, and then, the Euro does the same thing. Look at this. This is 9 p.m. Sunday, and it has the same idea of the storms dropping in from Ohio, which, hey, I mean, it's getting support, right? It's not just on the high-res data. It's coming in from even what we call the globals, or the national world models, too, are indicating that. Okay, so once that passes on by, then we just get ready for talking about really hot weather. Yes, there is still risk for MCSs to drop down in the hot weather, so the rain chance is not zero. We just don't know yet how that will really evolve, so we'll focus on the heat, and we'll worry about the storm chances as we get a little closer. And as soon as we see a signal, we'll let you know. Because right now, based on what we're looking at, especially if we miss out on the rain this weekend, the ground's going to continue to dry out, and the ability to get above 95 can then be reached. It's really hard to get above 95 with a wet ground, but once you get drying ground, absolutely you can. And you can even get to 100 with a dry ground. So we'll see how this will play out for early next week, but even if we don't hit 100, say we get to 97 or 98, as we're expecting right now, the heat index will average about 109 to 110. That would put us at the extreme heat warning level. There's a lot of debate on whether or not that will be Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll work on that. It could be both days, but eventually thunderstorms will come into play to knock down the heat, and we'll see if they're strong or not, how that organizes. But the dip is still there. I will say the Euro, again, is not overly aggressive on this being long-lasting. I mean, in some cases, the dip that we're going to get from this next weekend is probably only going to last like 36 hours, maybe 48 hours. Not very long. Not very long. But hey, it's okay. We'll take it. It's welcome. Right now, I'm trying to fine-tune the timing on because I know you guys are like, I want to put a vacation day in to make sure I'm ready for this. We know that Friday may be a transition day to get us to that level. Right now, I'm thinking Saturday may end up being the better feeling date. Still warm. I mean, it could be 85 to 88, and the heat index could still be close to 90. So it's not exactly going to feel like October, so I don't want you guys to get too excited about this, thinking, oh, wow, this is great, we're going to do a bonfire, you know. No, it's not like that. But when you go from 98 to even 88, that's an improvement, and it will feel a lot better. That's my point I want to make. Okay, it doesn't last long, as I mentioned, because I do think the heat will build back. I mean, we'll likely be back with the heat index of 100 at the very end of this forecast. As we get into the following week, the heat will build back in. But there is another wave that shows up that wants to dive down. It may take a few days into August to arrive again, and we're working on that to see when that dip will happen. So the pattern remains active, but this whole back and forth thing, I just can't seem to shake it. All right, CSU on the severe weather side has it nailed down pretty good. Basically, with the front being the most active, the next few days where the yellow is, that's your slight risk potential, and you can see how it has a little more of that slant there. I mean, you go by CSU, this is where your slight risk will be here for. I don't know why this thing always triggers. Sorry about that. If we get into Sunday, this is where your slight risk will be. So I think that map looks good, really, to be honest with you. I mean, that's well placed from CSU for AI model. We'll see. And then the front kind of just sags south slowly but surely, and we get out of the woods on that, obviously, by the end of next week. All right, let me show you the 10-day, and then I'll get to some of your questions, because you guys have been chatting away and thinking I'm ignoring you. I promise I'm not. Let's see. Carrie, what are the chances of us getting one of those 3-inch rainstorms on Sunday? Not very high for that, only because it will be moving. The only way I could see, Carrie, that we may get totals that could get that high would be when it's slowing down and starts to run out of gas. There will be a slowing, obviously, of its forward motion. So it could have a little bit more longevity over a certain location. So that may be possible because the P watts will be high. So we'll watch it, okay? We'll hang tight on that. Adam, our heat index was 108 yesterday. Yeah, it was awful. Absolutely awful yesterday. And today it won't be better. Hey, Tommy, I hope you're doing well. What do the rain chances look like for Carrollton? I'm assuming you mean the weekend. You're going to be in that zone. Saturday, I think you'll just see spotty stuff. Is it Tammy or Tommy? I'm sorry, I can't see it. I think it's Tommy, right? I can't tell if that's an A. Sorry, I can't read it very well, and I can't see your picture because you're on almost a 4x4 screen over here with me. But anyway, Carrollton, chances certainly higher on Sunday. And you should see that in the app. If you don't, you will soon, because we're working on your particular section of wave country here. Let's see. Janetta, so ready for the fall and cooler weather? Me too. Me too. We may have to wait a little bit. I mean, this is just knocking us down to normal. That's fine. We'll take that. It's better than this intense heat, so I'll take normal. May feel great, at least a couple times in August, but yeah, the heat's not done. Far from done with us, unfortunately. And the tropics, again, are going to come alive as we head into August. There's a good amount of support for that, but it will all be really East Coast based. I think we're going to have a lot of storms that will turn in the Atlantic, which is not good for Bermuda. It may not be good for the Bahamas. I think that zone, unfortunately, may be a little more at risk for some problems in August, but we'll see how the tropics get involved, because that's always a catalyst in any forecast. Once you get into August and September, you got to pay attention to the tropics, because that could just completely flip your 10-day upside down if one of those sneaks in. So big asterisks on August because of that. Hey, Michelle, what's the heat index today? We'll get to about 105. Some spots a little higher. If you're out into the country, I'm not sure where you're at, Michelle. If you're out in the country area away from the city, you could get up there to 110. If you're more in the city, probably 105 would be your average. Hey, Adam, how does this hot stretch compare with all time? It's not really record breaking. That's a good question. I think the days I looked at, it was way up there, though. I want to say it was like 30 or 40 days. So it was really high, the amount of days of 90s in a row. So it's not to that level. But 2012 was pretty rough. I mean, 2012, we almost beat the highest that Louisville's ever been, which is 107. We've done that 3 times in our history. The last time was in the 1930s. But we got to 106, and I thought that day, I remember working with Christy Dutton that day, and I thought, oh, man, like, could this be it? Could this be the day we break that all-time record? And because that was one that you read about in school and history books as being the hottest ever, and now 106. But that was a rough year. It was very, very dry. Again, dry weather is huge on your thermometer. Outside the city, Michelle, into Meade County, oh yeah, you'll be up there. You know, you'll be up there probably, I would say 108, 109, couldn't get up to 110, so take it easy. By the way, guys, I'm going to sound like a boomer here. I have joined, I know Harry, my tortoise, joined TikTok, but I'm on TikTok now. Don't know how well this is going to go for me, but I've had it for a while. I just haven't said anything about it. Mainly because I forget about it, but it's Be Good Weather, BRB Good WX, which is WX abbreviation for weather. So Be Good WX, if you want to follow me on TikTok. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to have different content there than what I have. Sometimes it'll be weather related, and most of the time it probably won't be, but you'll get a little glimpse of my world anyway. I know, Adam, I know. I've crossed the line to TikTok, so yeah, pray for me. Okay, let's see. Hi, Ryan, how you doing? Since you're the star of the YouTubers today, I can't imagine how people in Arizona feel with 105 temperature. Well, as I say, it's a dry heat, but then again, I spent just 24 hours in Phoenix, and it was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. Nothing against Phoenix, but the weather, it was so hot. I mean, even at night, I think the heat index was 105 at night, and I couldn't breathe. And I wanted to see the city, but it was so overwhelming. And maybe I sound like a baby right now, but it was just so overwhelming. I was like, I'm not leaving the room. That's just too much. There was no relief at night. No, it was awful. Do you have Instagram? Yes, I'm on Instagram, BeGoodWay3. I'm on Insta. Been on Insta for a long time. I'm really about keeping that updated as much, but I'm on most of them, to be honest. It's a lot to keep up with, guys. You have no idea. It's overwhelming. Hey, DJ, I'm headed to Brickyard coming up on Sunday. Any chances? Yeah, you'll be a little closer to the front, so be aware of that for showers and thunderstorms, DJ. So I'm not sure what time. You said 4 o'clock? No, that's Brickyard 400. What time is it going to be? If it's afternoon, the risk is going to be higher. If it's midday-ish, you may get lucky and get some laps in. You may not get all the way completed, but you could get several laps in. It's possible. All right, any other questions? And because I got to run and get ready for the show here. But I want you guys to have a good weekend and behave yourselves. I will be on sunrise and midday for Monday, so I will see you guys really early. I'll still be here for the blog, but I'll be on TV a lot earlier on Monday morning. So if you're there, 2 p.m. for Brickyard. Yeah, Angie, that's not going to be good. That could run into problems. Okay, you guys take care of yourselves. Again, try to stay cool. keep it on the thunderstorm chances this weekend. I mean, it's going to be a hot weekend, but just be weather aware. There could be some scattered showers and storms that could sneak in, especially on Sunday. So I don't want you guys to get caught off guard by that. Carson, of course, will be here to keep you guys updated just in case. All right? You all take care. I will see you on Monday. Have a safe weekend, guys. And I'll be on midday in about 45 minutes.